Have you ever had food FOMO, fear of missing out? Fear of missing out on something really tasty your friends or family are eating? Or what about YOLO? You only live once. You only live once, so you should really go to town on this amazing high-carb, high-sugary thing, right? Wrong. Today, let's talk about FOMO and YOLO so we can make sure they don't stand in your way of getting the results you want on a low-carb or keto diet. Hey everybody, this is low-carb and keto nutrition specialist Amy Berger, and you're watching Keto Without the Crazy. If you are looking for a source of sanity in the sea of madness out there about keto diets, you've come to the right place. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future videos where I help cut through the confusion and overwhelm. Let's get right down to business. What about FOMO, fear of missing out? When you are hanging out with friends, hanging out with family, maybe even especially at some kind of special event, a holiday, a sporting event, you have this fear of missing out on something high carb that everybody else is eating. And you might even have a fear of missing out on the experience, missing out on the camaraderie. Maybe you feel like you're not part of the group, or you're sort of having not the same experience if you are not eating that thing. You are missing out in some way. But two ways to counter FOMO. Number one, are you really missing out? Is this food something you've never, ever had before? You've never had chocolate chip cookies? You've never had birthday cake? You've never had nachos at the baseball game? You've never had fried rice and dumplings? You've never had whatever the thing be. Are you really missing out? Well, I don't know how bagels taste. Gosh, what does that taste like? Potato chips? I wonder what those are like. These are probably things you've had a bajillion times over the course of your life. You're not really missing out. Now, have you had that exact birthday cake, that exact chocolate chip cookie? No, maybe not. But it's not like you don't know what they taste like. It's not like you've never had that experience. So you're not really missing out. Another way to counter the lie of FOMO is to think of other things that you have a fear of missing out on, like maybe you fear missing out on enjoying your life because you are riddled with joint pain or heartburn or brain fog, or because your skin has all kinds of problems. Maybe you have a fear of missing out on feeling your best. Maybe you have a fear of missing out on being able to enjoy a book because your brain fog is so strong and you're so fatigued that you can barely read a paragraph. You have to read the same sentence 3 times over to make sense of it. So maybe you've got a fear of missing out on simply living the best life you can. Probably the best and most powerful way to counter FOMO is with JOMO, the joy of missing out. How about the joy of missing out on the heartburn, on the joint pain, on the migraine, on the eczema flare-up, on the IBS attack? How about the joy of missing out on the bloating the next day, on being up a few pounds on the scale, on the carb cravings coming back because you triggered them? That's not FOMO, that's JOMO. You have a joy when you miss out on that stuff. Now, what about YOLO? You only live once. How can this sabotage your keto diet? Pretty strongly. You only live once, you might as well enjoy the pizza. You only live once, you should have the cheesecake. You only live once, go to the buffet and eat anything and everything you want. Okay, what do we need to know about YOLO? Well, you only live once, so good thing in your one life that you're living, you've already had pizza. You've already had lots of whatever they probably have at this buffet. You've already had cookies. You've already had ice cream. Yeah, you only live once. And in the life, you've already had plenty of that stuff. You don't need to have more of it. You've already had the experience. You know exactly what it's like. The second thing you need to know about YOLO, you only live once. Yeah, you do only live once. So you don't want to live that one life with high blood pressure or type 2 diabetes or PCOS or all kinds of skin problems and GI problems and migraines. You don't want to live that one life tethered to one of those weekly medication, the pill boxes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You don't want to live your one life tied to a medication schedule. You only live once, so you don't want to spend it feeling like crap every day. Tell me in the comments, have FOMO or YOLO been issues for you? Have they caused you to go off track, or have you found strategies that help you kind of deny them and stay on plan? Leave a comment. You might help somebody else. Let's get realistic for a second, though. Even if you believe in FOMO and YOLO, even if you want to use those as reasons to eat things that you wouldn't normally eat, or to eat things that you know are not conducive to you reaching your goals on a low carb or keto diet, there's a way to do it without completely blowing your progress or without completely sabotaging things. And, can you have a little bit of something so that you don't feel like you're missing out? Can you have a little bit of something so you feel like, oh, I only live once, I really want to try that? Yeah, try it. Can you have 3 bites instead of 47 bites? Can you have 1 piece instead of 72 pieces? Ideally, reframing how you think about FOMO and YOLO will help you say no much more often to foods that you know are not conducive to you reaching your goals. But, be realistic. How often are FOMO and YOLO causing you to go off plan? How often are you using those to justify eating things that you know are not helpful, and you're only delaying your progress? You only live once. You should do this. Fear of missing, I'm going to be the odd one out. It would be one thing if these things happened only rarely. Once in a while, I'm going to throw caution to the wind and just eat this thing. And I'm going to deal with the migraine I might have later. I'm going to accept the consequence of being bloated tomorrow, or having heartburn, or having a breakout tomorrow. But if it happens constantly, which it kind of does, right? We use these justifications constantly. There's always somebody's birthday. If you work in an office, it's always somebody's retirement party. Somebody's always having a baby shower. There's always cupcakes in the break room. There's always some kind of social event or some holiday on the horizon. And if we use FOMO and YOLO as justifications to go off plan every time, we're never really on plan, right? The more this happens, it's like we're off plan more than we're on. And that's really not what we want. So we just need to remember how to talk back to our brain, or even to our friends when they say, you only live once, why don't you have this? Yeah, I do only live once, so I don't want to deal with the negative stuff I know is going to happen to me if I eat that. It looks delicious. I'm sure it's tasty. You please enjoy. I'm so happy to just be here hanging out, being in everybody's company. I'm having my burger patty or my, bunless sandwich or whatever you're doing. We just have to stop justifying to ourselves going off plan. That's some straight talk on FOMO and YOLO, and just remember that JOMO, the joy of missing out on all that negative stuff that might happen. So I hope this was helpful. Please hit that like button and subscribe. And until next time, you promise me, keep the crazy out of your keto. Thanks for watching.